The Davy D clan became the most important subject of One Piece this year, and I'm sure it's not just Zebek's family. There are other survivors besides Teach for sure. Either we already know them but they use fake names like rocks, or we've still yet to see them appear in the story. Otherwise, Oda wouldn't reveal a new clan. What would be the point of it? Every time Oda reveals something new, like a power or a clan, time after time, we see more characters wielding that power or being a part of that family. For example, at the start of One Piece, Conquerors, Haki, the voice of all things, the D clan, and even Logias were very rare, but now we have several characters in each category. So I'm sure we'll see new Davy D clan members very soon, and as you already got from the title, this video is about Usopp. We still have Straw Hats with mysterious childhoods and bloodlines in One Piece like Nami, Brook, Frankie, and especially Usopp. Even after 1,100 chapters, we still don't know their full names, and I'm sure it's for a reason. Unlike others, Usopp has additional mysteries as well. His lies always come true, and in some countries he's even seen as a god and even has his own statue, which is very strange for a character like Usopp. And since we know Oda's writing, it's not just a humor element. Because of these reasons, there are many theories that he's from the D clan, or he has Conqueror's Haki, that he is Nolan's descendant, and many other variations about his past. In this video, I'll try to explain all of this and show you why Usopp is actually a descendant of Davy D. Jones. Interestingly, during the fight against the Foxy Pirates where Davy Jones was mentioned for the first time, Usopp gave Luffy the afro look, and we also saw a Jolly Roger on Luffy's chest that looked a lot like Zebek's Jolly Roger, which I believe was inspired by Davy D. Jones. Rox was very proud to call himself the Davy Jonesian pirate, so I believe he was strongly influenced by him. In that scene, Usopp also put on the straw hat. It's really difficult to explain every detail of this image because of the lack of information, but I'm sure Oda foreshadowed something with it. Usopp is also known by many names and myths. Sniper King, God Usopp, descendant of Nolan. Everywhere he goes, people create legends about him. Usopp has statues in Skypiea and Dressrosa. If we take a look at known members and also possible members of the Davy D Pirates, we can see that they are all legendary. Not just Blackbeard, Rox, or Davy D. Jones, but let's take Buggy as well. There's a huge chance that he's from this clan too. He might not be Zebek's son, but he's probably a close relative because their similar look is undeniable. Oda did not do that unintentionally. And even Buggy, a weak pirate, is considered to be legendary. It seems like Davy D clan members have some kind of aura. Buggy and Usopp share striking similarities. Both are cowardly characters who stumble into greatness and rise in reputation far beyond their actual power. If Buggy is related to Rox, then it makes sense he too may share the Davy Jones lineage. That would explain why Buggy and Usopp mirror each other. They're both carrying on the legacy of Davy Jones in different ways. I wouldn't be surprised if Davy Jones was also called God Davy or God Jones like Usopp. God Valley may even be named after him, which would make a lot of sense since most Davy D clan members lived there. Another hint is, of course, the hair. Compare the hair of Usopp, Kuma, and Blackbeard. They're strikingly similar. All three may share ancestry through the Davy line. Also, Buccaneers are massive, around 20 feet tall. Teach, however, is only about 11 feet. That suggests he's only part Buccaneer. Usopp is even smaller, suggesting his bloodline was mixed with other races, maybe even dwarves. There were even hints about his connection to the Tontatta tribe. Not much of Usopp's family is known outside his direct parents. His father is the legendary sniper Yasopp, and his mother, Bankina, was a simple woman from Syrup village who passed away when Usopp was still a child. However, it's noticeable that Usopp's iconic nose comes from his mother's side of the family, not Yasopp. Looking specifically at his mother, her nose, while not as long or pronounced as Usopp's, was still fairly large and came to a strange point. While this may seem like an insignificant detail, there's another group of characters in One Piece that shares a similar facial feature. The Tontatta, who are expert gardeners and guardian spirits of Dressrosa, despite being incredibly small, also share a nose that looks exactly like Usopp's mother's. Due to this fact, I won't be the first to say this, but there is a slight chance that Usopp's mother may be a descendant of the Tontatta of One Piece many generations down the line. Although this seems unlikely, this isn't the first time that a human and Tontatta hybrid has been a part of the series, with Big Mom having a Tontatta husband and a half-human, half-Tontatta child. In Elbaf, we also saw that Scopper Gaban had a son with a giant, Ripley, so things like that are not strange in One Piece. Additionally, Usopp had an instant close relationship with the Tontatta after first meeting them during the Dressrosa arc of One Piece, with the Tontatta quickly referring to him as a hero. This fast bond between Usopp and the Tontatta may be due to Usopp's heritage belonging to their group. Plus, much like the Tontatta, Usopp has a natural affinity for gardening, utilizing his skills in botany for many unique purposes since his post-time skip training. At the same time, however, the former Emperor of One Piece, Big Mom's Tontatta child, is incredibly small despite being half human, while Usopp and his mother are still normal size. If some of Usopp's ancestors were Buccaneers and Davy D clan members, then it would explain Usopp's normal human size. Full Buccaneers are like giants, half Buccaneers are like Teach, pretty tall for a human but not tall enough for a giant. For this reason, I think Whitebeard was a Buccaneer as well. And then we have Usopp, an even more mixed lineage. Part Tontatta, part Buccaneer, part human. Everyone keeps saying Elbaf is Usopp's arc, and it's true. He has always wanted to be a giant, and if he's secretly part giant through Davy Jones, that makes his wish kind of come true. This is why the current flashback about God Valley, Rocks, and Davy Jones matters. It's all setting up Usopp's role as well. The legends of Davy Jones are intertwined with Usopp's story, and this arc will reveal it. Luffy was angry with Usopp earlier for not defeating opponents he should have been able to beat. He never gets angry with other weaker Straw Hats like Chopper, Nami, or Brook. It's like Luffy feels Usopp can achieve much more and is way more powerful, but his fear and self-doubt block his potential. For me, that was a small bit of foreshadowing. I believe that after learning he has the blood of giants in his DNA, Usopp will become more confident and finally unlock his true powers. Usopp is supposed to level up and truly shine at Elbaf. Another fascinating connection comes from the name, Davy D. I'm sure you've all heard about the story of David and Goliath, one of the most timeless tales ever told. And if you've been following One Piece for a while, you've probably already seen how perfectly the story parallels Usopp's journey. David was a young shepherd boy armed with nothing but a sling and faith who stepped up against a towering giant that even trained warriors feared. He wasn't the strongest, the bravest, nor the most skilled fighter. But he was clever, bold, and most importantly, he believed he could win when nobody else did. Now think about Usopp. This sounds exactly like him. In One Piece, Usopp has always been portrayed as the weakest Straw Hat on paper. He doesn't have Luffy's raw strength, Zoro's swordsmanship, or Sanji's speed and agility. But like David, Usopp has something much more valuable: courage in the face of fear. And of course, his main weapon is the slingshot, the exact weapon David used against Goliath. That's not a coincidence. Throughout the story, we've seen Usopp constantly rise in David vs. Goliath moments where the odds should have crushed him, yet he still found a way to win. In Alabasta, he faced Mr. Four and Miss Merry Christmas, opponents who completely outclassed him in power, yet through wit, creativity, and sheer stubbornness, he managed to outsmart them when he should have lost. In Enies Lobby, Usopp stood against the entire world government, not with fists, but with a single shot. He fired the legendary flame star that burned the world government's flag, symbolically declaring war. This was pure courage, exactly like David facing the giant. In Dressrosa, Usopp had his most iconic David moment yet. Against Sugar, an enemy who could turn anyone into a toy with a single touch, Usopp's precision sniping turned the entire tide of the battle. It wasn't brute force, it was faith, timing, and bravery. Every one of these moments mirrors the David vs. Goliath story, the weakling with a slingshot standing up to monsters and achieving the impossible. And it gets even more interesting. We all know how much Oda loves wordplay, symbolism, and hidden hints. Davy D doesn't just sound like a pirate name, it sounds like David. And if that's intentional, it could be Oda's way of connecting Usopp directly to the Davy D clan. The D clan has always represented people who defy fate, who stand up to impossible odds, and who change the course of history. Usopp has been doing all of this in his own way all along. Even without strength, even while being afraid, he constantly rises to the occasion when it matters most. This connection between Davy D, David, and Usopp might be one of Oda's biggest hidden parallels, and it makes the idea of Usopp being part of the Davy D bloodline very plausible. That's it for today. Write what you think about this theory down in the comments, and if you want to see more about the storylines of other Straw Hats at Elbaf, you can click this video right here. Thanks for watching. Bye.